Hi, everyone. So today I'm talking to you from my place in Surfers Paradise on the Gold Coast of Queensland, Australia. One of a place that people from all over Australia and from many places in the world come to go on holidays. And I'm stuck here, wanting to be back with my family in Thailand, but COVID and life and so many things are falling into place in such an incredible way. And I want to talk about that today because when I look at the media, when I can tolerate looking at the media, because at 72, you begin to realize this has been going on for 40 or 50 years in your life, and they're still doing exactly the same thing. It's only ramped up and pushed over the edge these days. We used to have action movies. Now it seems like the movies they're making, I looked at the trailers of the movies for this year, and it's like everyone in Hollywood is pursuing not everyone, but a big chunk of people are pursuing their darkest dreams and nightmares. And it's so easy to look at the news, look at the movies, look at what's going on, walk down the street here, and you see everything from homeless people, drunk people, families taking their kids for a big holiday, or just every type of human being. And it's so easy to let that permeate into you. And you think that that's life and that's humanity. And it's not. It's not. And I'm going to do a little bit of human design here, not because this is a human design video, it's just that I use human design. I wanted to look at the energies of today and really give you some perspective, some insight, just some of what I understand about how complex, intricate, and beautiful humanity is, with all its problems and faults, with all the things that we get revved up about. It's just, we're missing. It's so easy. I'm not saying we're missing, but it's so easy to miss the point, and what an incredible time this is for humanity, and what an incredibly complex, intricate, and beautiful construct and manifestation humanity is. And give you some insight as to, I'm not going to go, I've seen all the marketing stuff you can get for decades now, and it's only getting more, how to hook, it's like fishing, going marketing. I don't do a lot of that much anymore. If I do, other people do it for me, because it's natural for me to be me. And that tends to be natural, authentic, no BS, from the heart, genuine. But at the same time, not buy into any particular system's form of presenting itself as being more than the clothes that you wear or the way you present yourself. Because at the core of humanity and the core of being human, we all came here to deepen our relationship with love. We didn't come here because it's all love, which is an interesting phrase that overlooks the complexity of it, but we came here to deepen our relationship and our intimacy with love. And that is a more complex statement that really looks at all the crazy things human beings do, all the insanely crazy things, all the sadistic and stupid things that we do to ourselves and to others, as well as all the magnificent, beautiful, inspiring, groundbreaking, loving things that human beings do. because we're here to deepen our relationship with what love really is. And we're ferocious about that in the way we live as human beings. Even in our mediocrity, we're ferociously attached to it, you know. And it's that passion for love. It's that real passion for love that is a distinguishing characteristic of humanity and of human beings. And right at the moment, you can see so much breakdown happening, so much of it in the name of what people believe is good things, but they just don't work. And that is because we're in a process of clearing the space to keep the best of what we've got. Now, we're not destroying everything to get rid of the old because it was all bad and it has to be punished and eliminated. We're clearing the space, like clearing up your house and selling all the old things you don't need, putting some of the best things in storage or finding a place for them in the house, and then building a whole new house in which to live. And this is happening on a global, interconnected, very conscious level. It's not always done consciously, but we're very aware that it's happening. And if you want to be, the more you want to be aware of it, you can be. You've got access to all the information you would ever need, input from people from all around the world, the opportunity to travel. In fact, we've had so much of it, we've created a time to just pull back a little bit and integrate it, otherwise disguised as known as COVID. And what's happening right now, and what inspired me to even do this video, is actually what's happening right now, because it speaks specifically to that. Now, I'm going to show you a human design chart. Now, this is a chart for pretty much now, maybe 20 minutes ago or whatever. And this is what it would look like when you show the whole thing. Now, if you've never seen human design, don't worry about it. It's a map. This is a map of how the energy at the moment, what it's doing, and what it's opening us up to receive. And if you were born in the last 20 minutes, you'd have a chart like this. You would be born with the capacity to do certain things and to receive the support you need to do it. But we're looking at how that affects you, and that's when you look at what's happening right now, because the black stuff over here is what's happening today, and this happened just a little less than 3 months ago. So they call this transits, where the planets are now, where the energies are now, what's being triggered off now by our environment, by the sun and our earth and the moon, and these things called the north and south nodes, which are particular points. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, the setup of our solar system, the big players in our solar system. And right at the moment, the sun produces 70% of the energy that we experience. So looking at this, whatever part the sun is activating is going to be a big deal. It's going to be 70% of what's up at the moment. And it happens to be in this particular, they call it a gate, in this particular center, which is about making sure you're moving in a direction that you love. In other words, it's about love and direction. This is the energy in you that keeps you on track, is the simplest way of putting it, with what you love, keeps you on track with what you love. And this part of it, 15, is about our love for humanity. And it happens to be in a particular point, and there's 6 variants of this, and right at the moment, it's in the variant that goes, love of humanity, where the hell's it all really going to? Where's it leading us? Where is humanity taking us to? Now, I'm not getting all technical jargon in human design. I'm just putting it in simple, straightforward language. So what the hell is humanity really? You know, there's a big spotlight being shone on where are we all going as humanity, human beings together as a group, a very large group. And I'm going to look at the interpretations they have here, but I'm going to add in my own as well. And one of the things, it uses the word sensitivity as a broad brush stroke. Now, that could mean a lot of things. So they put in this, the ability to sense when otherwise balanced behavior must be adjusted to meet the requirements of changing environment. In other words, what normally is balanced, responsible, healthy behavior, when it's in a changing environment, it has to adapt because the environment's changing, and what was balanced behavior and responsible behavior in the previous environment will be out of sync with the new one. Now, that doesn't mean everything gets destroyed and you start from scratch. It means you make adjustments where necessary. And you can see this everywhere in the world. Walking down the street, I see it. But you see this in the media, extremely amplified and exaggerated for whatever their reasons are. But okay, so you get some bad behavior by police, and then you try and completely wipe them out, and that's an absurd adjustment. It's like, okay. How do we improve our relationships with the community? And how can police play a better role in that community that's more, you know, in other words, there's a period of growth and understanding that needs to come. That's just one simple example. And that requires sensitivity to the needs of the community, the people in the community, and the job that the police are doing. So the ability to sense where otherwise balanced behavior, like you need law and order, needs to adjust to meet the requirements of a changing environment. Well, people are becoming more conscious, more aware of what's going on. And when those adjustments are made in an expansive, positive way, it gives us the power to grow, the capacity to grow through experiencing the extremes and finding the sweet spot in between that brings the best of both extremes together and expands the possibilities and expands the horizons. So it doesn't matter what side of the fence you tend to be on or what your beliefs, you know, whether you're highly imaginative, very logical, empathetic, spiritual, non-spiritual, ditch digging, love it, you know, billionaire, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're just extremes. How do you find the sweet spot in your life between your family and a tough job? or being a billionaire and having a lot of people on the planet starving. I mean, to me, if I was a billionaire and that was happening, I wouldn't feel particularly comfortable. Now, it doesn't mean I give all my money away to people who are going to waste it. But I go, why do I create such circumstances where for me to be really rich, these people have to be really poor? If I can create $1 billion, I can put that creative energy into helping other people not become, a few of them become elite billionaires, but creating something that enables humanity to thrive without taking away their individuality and allowing them to do it as unique human beings in their own terms. Now, that's complex, it's intricate, it's challenging. But, you know, it draws out the creativity in you and draws out the caring. And that's what every human being needs at the moment. Otherwise, we'll waffle around in being victims or persecutors or heroes and all that stuff that they talk about in psychology and the drama triangle. We'll just keep going around creating more and more and more drama, politically, financially, globally, between countries, between races, between sexes, between anybody who's different than anybody else, which everybody is. It's like, give me something better than drama. Well, what about taking something on that's really challenges you, no matter how successful or unsuccessful you are, to create something by being caring? You know, caring for yourself and caring for other people. Now, that requires immense sensitivity, because what you're doing is moving towards appreciating humanity more. Love for humanity with all its complexity. The other option is, if you go scary, threatening, the whole world's going to fall apart, into the drama of it all, you tend to overcompensate. You know, no carbon at all in the atmosphere, right? No red meat, ever. No, you know, everybody's got to be nice. It's overcompensate, and it actually messes up the flow. Everybody's got to tune into love. It messes up the flow. You know, love is absolutely fundamental, but we all love in different ways. And if you're not passionate about the way you love, if that passion doesn't come from within you, then it's just a facade that you picked up from somebody else. And that disturbs the flow. And what you're seeing at the moment on the news, on the media, when you walk down the street, in communities, in countries all around the world, from whatever you think of the good countries to whatever you think of the bad countries, is that sort of extreme behavior, overcompensating, trying to be perfect, get to heaven, clean up the environment at any cost whatsoever. You know, good people and bad people. And I won't even go into that, because it's a drama. People have made such a drama out of that now. But if you can find that sweet spot, it becomes, you're sensitive to the where that sweet spot is to you between the extremes of your nature and behavior, where you're not hopeless, useless, terrible, or grandiose, incredible, enlightened, whatever, which are the extremes your ego goes to. But you've got that sweet spot where the ego's only job is to tell you what's going on out there cleanly and let you figure out how to deal with it. And then it tells people out there how you've decided to deal with it. And all it has to do is convey the messages, and it doesn't have to blow itself up. It doesn't have to put itself down. It doesn't have to take over and run the world. It's just doing what egos are designed to do. You know, be a messenger, message boy or girl. And there's that sweet sensitivity that human beings have. I was walking along the street today and in one of those moods where I was looking at people and how unhappy they were walking along the street in various different forms. And then this little girl just ran in front of me to take a photograph of a sculpture on the beach at Surfers Paradise. And she had a camera and she was just lining it up, this sculpture. And I was about to walk right in front of her and I just stopped. And she was so into taking the photograph. And I was absolutely admiring it and enjoying it and didn't want to break it by walking in just at the moment she pressed the camera. And she didn't even notice me. She was so absorbed in what she was doing. And I was walking on the spot, sort of laughing. And then she took the photograph, and just then her parents had been watching all this and they came in, you know, came close to us, and her mother was cracking up laughing. And her dad and a little brother or whatever, and one of them was in, one of the little ones was in a pram. And everyone just cracked up, and there was such a beauty in that moment. That's humanity. The joy of the little girl discovering her passion and using a tool that she'd learned how to just love taking that photograph. And all of us in our different ways, never having met each other before and probably never will again, enjoying that exquisite moment of being alive, not as a high, like a drug or a movie or something like that, but as a moment of life when human beings reveal their authentic nature. Because that passion that she had was real. Now, it could be distorted and turned into terrible stuff that has happened in this world many, many, many times. But the passion was real, the love was real, the joy was real, the humor, the fun. That's what I meant by the sweet spot. You know, I was on my way, but I could stop. They were going for a walk. She was being a child. And then it was not one extreme. I surrendered to the moment and played with it. And so did she, so was she, and so did her parents. And it just blew away all my negative thinking about why do people suffer so much or have such a mediocre time and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, putting myself in the place of judging other people, you know, just because the way I was feeling. And it just eliminated it. Because it showed me what's real. Now, don't overcompensate by trying to destroy the system. That's what I'm trying. Be sensitive. Don't overcompensate by trying to hang on to the system at any cost. that doesn't require sensitivity. Realize we're all growing and we're experiencing the extremes at a very high level and in a large amount, more than most human beings would ever experience it in normal life because of our access to media and the internet and everything. And use it to grow. Why is this happening? You know, I have friends in California that are trying to eliminate the drought they're having there. What is all this fiery energy telling you about your passion? There's a lot of passion, but there's a lack of water. Well, fire is associated with passion generally in most cultures, and water associated with nurturing and love. So in California, there needs to be a bit of balance between passion and love. And there's a hell of a lot of passion going on there in so many different ways. Now let's bring in some nurturing as well, some supportiveness in a way that actually allows things to grow, not allows things to fall apart. And this is where you start to see the world and other human beings as not a threat, but an ally in your growth and development as a person. Now, along with that, what's really funny to me, because I have this, is the moon just went into gate 5, which is the other end of that channel, which turned this energy into being a generative energy. This is a generating energy, but it's manifesting something, which is it's generating the energy to manifest humanity being able to get along with each other, which is what this gate is. You know, all sorts of people learning how to relate to each other in the actual world, manifesting that. And so that's the message for now. Maybe when you see this, that particular arrangement has changed. But the message now that I'm speaking Mercury in words 35, right? Mercury's stationary at the moment. It's just come out of Mercury retrograde. What's it trying to tell us? Right? It's time to make some corrections. It's a process of, you know, if we're disciplined enough, we can, if we're mature enough is a good way of putting it, we can crystallize our ambition to grow and our ambition to make a better world, so that we get our timing right and that the corrections we make are effective, not rushed and destructive. It's progressive change that results from correction. In other words, we correct and correct and correct, but it works. It's making corrections from that sweet spot that actually work. Or if we get aggressive about it, you know, try and shove it on other people, make people bad, go to war about it, cancel them, you name it, it becomes destructive and creates resistance, which creates more destruction. And it's severe. It's not sensitive. And I'm not saying, and it also finds that balance between being overly sensitive and being sensitive in an adult, mature way. Okay, I have my own needs, my own points of view, but I'm aware that you're different. And I'd like to be aware of those differences and see what we can create together from those differences that's even better than what I would come up with on my own. That's sensitivity. It's not like, don't scare me, don't offend me, don't do anything. I mean, God almighty, the temperature goes below 12 degrees Celsius here. I feel offended. because, you know, where I live, that's a cold night, you know, but for someone who lives in northern Canada, that's a nice day, you know. So to hell with it, you know, we all have different circumstances we need to deal with, and the sensitivity requires maturity to deal with it effectively. So what else before I wrap this up? Oh yeah, down the other end of the spectrum. Where's all this heading? Just for now, where's all this heading? Don't buy into propaganda. The ability to, the positive side is when you're relaxed, compassionate, but clear, you have the ability to experience, examine, and then reject misleading enthusiasm. You're able to assess other people, what other people put out there, whether it's marketing for business, politics, the way your wife or your husband behaves, you know, people trying to save the planet, enlighten humanity, save the environment. It's like experience, examine, and then make sure that the enthusiasm is leading you somewhere that's positive and it really works. And that requires compassion. And that's what we need in this world at the moment. And this is what's coming 7 days, or 6 days down the line, is Neptune's going stationary. This is what I talked about in an earlier video, humility. But if you try and do it, hey, we're going to expand no matter what the cost. Jupiter and its negative thing, you know, take too much, overdoing it. We'll start trying to destroy the old and to seek new forms that create pain, that create prejudice within our systems, within our societies, between each other. And rather than assess people by their natural expression, we'll impose our judgment on them. We'll be judgmental. I mean, judgment has its place. You know, if you're going to jump from one thing to the other, you need to judge the distance. Otherwise, you could fall. But we need to assess what people, rather than buy into the propaganda, we all need to relax and truly assess what we're sharing, where we're coming from. No matter how intensely we believe we're right or intensely believe other people are wrong, we need right now to really relax and see what is going on. And humanity is going through the biggest change ever in our history. And we're all consciously linked up and part of it in many ways. And there's never been a time where chaos can produce so much positive behavior with mature, truly sensitive appreciation for what humanity is capable of. If we can be so negative and destructive and do so much hurt to other human beings, we're capable of loving at least that level, if not way more, of caring, of creating something truly, truly positive together. If we can be judgmental or defensive or competitive in the worst sense, like trying to conquer others, we can cooperate in ways that we've never believed possible. We can empower people to bring out their very best to the table and create corporations, businesses, relationships, international relationships, health at levels we could hardly even imagine. And not just because of some technology, but because of human compassion and caring and creativity. But we're the ones creating these tools, and we're the ones who choose how to get the best out of them or not. Distort them or allow them to serve us. So that more of the magnificence of human beings can come to the surface. Now, what does that mean for you in your life in a very practical level? It means it's time to flow. If you're going to have influence in your life, if you're going to be influential, do something that really influences your life, like getting healthy, losing weight, making more money, raising your children really well, build a farm, create a business in a way that truly influences people, that enables them and enables you to do something that's correct. That people can, leadership whose expression and action must be one and the same. In other words, they've got to walk their talk. If you're going to be somebody who brings to the table the very best of who you are, which is the best contribution to make to this world, then you need to find your flow. And your flow is when you get the greatness within you and share it with humanity, because you love doing that. That's what this channel calls, in a way that as many people as possible in your life can benefit from your presence. You living life the way that weaves together, that flows together, that integrates for you. Now that's going to demand you acknowledge that you're different and that other people are different, and that we then resolve those differences and turn them into assets. But if you don't see your uniqueness as an asset and the way your life is unfolding as a gift, that's whatever, whether it's really difficult for you at the moment or terrible, or really great and just everything seems to be falling into place. That is life working with you, giving you the opportunity to bring the very best out of you, if you'll just stop fighting life doing that. It's not that you have to get out of the way, you have to get into it, into living life, and let life be your ally, which means recognizing your circumstances and seeing them for what they are, and recognizing you and seeing yourself for who you are, owning it, acknowledging it, and then either correcting it, forgiving it, or celebrating it. And then the next step will unfold and you do the same again. And then the next step unfolds, and then the next step unfolds. And gradually this incredible adventure that you're here to experience and contribute to others will unfold. Now, the biggest trap is you can take all that on and go, this is it. This is so awesome, Christopher. Oh, amazing. You know, you get a mental high out of it or an emotional high out of it. And then you go straight back to your life the way it was before. Don't get hooked into that mental wow high or that emotional high. I mean, it's great to have mental clarity and it's great to have emotional clarity. But take this in and make it relevant to you. Start to live it. Find something that I've shared, if you've got this far, something that I've shared that hooks into what's great about you and empowers the parts of you that you don't think are that great or you've been taught are not great at all. Start to live as a member of humanity that's ferociously loving and passionate about developing a much deeper, more authentic relationship with love, no matter what the cost. And we've plummeted some pretty big depths. But now we can also integrate that and use what we've learned from that to explore places that no one's ever been to before when it comes to love. It's not all about, it's about genuine, authentic, empowered, mature. How incredible can love get? And making that your experience in your life. And sometimes the most powerful things can be as simple as what happened with that little girl taking the photograph. Just moments of pure joy, where a group of us as human beings, as within humanity, realized while we're alive, not in meditation or a workshop, but just walking down the street or along the beach in surfers paradise and knowing why we chose to become human, because we were fiercely committed to deepening our relationship with love and taking it to whole new levels of enjoyment, of maturity, of realization. Because that's what the whole rest of the universe and everything in it is, just holding its breath to see what we come up with in the midst of all this crazy stuff that's going on in the world. This is what we're on the edge of. This is what you're here to do in your way, in your life, to your satisfaction, or until you're at peace with it, or until you've gone, you know, I came here and I succeeded at what I'm here to do. And you live and leave with a smile, not only on your face, but in your heart. So I'll leave it at that and enjoy the next week or two as Neptune works its mystery and allows us to discover much greater clarity. Hope this helps you, and thank you for listening. Talk to you soon.